Hi, everybody. This is Auntie. We are here to do 90 Day Hunt for Love, Season 1, Episode 11, The Girl That Treated It Like an Interview. Let's get into it, shall we? Oh, yes, we shall. Everybody needs a sweet old auntie. Thank you, subscribers, and my users and reviews, and all the y'all who have been here through the long. Shall we get into it? Oh, yes, we shall. It's time for Auntie's advice. It's time for Auntie's advice. Oh, yeah. It's time for Auntie's advice. Welcome back, everybody. We are going to get into this episode, talk about some things that we saw, give our opinion downtown in the comment section. If you like that kind of YouTubing, welcome. I am Auntie of Auntie's Advice, and the people that you see downtown in the chat are my nieces and my nephews. We have a new member who has joined us, Megan Johnson. Welcome to the family of Auntie's Advice. We are so glad to have you here. And if you all have not already done so, please welcome Megan to the family. Also, if you are coming to my meet and greet this weekend, I sent out an email yesterday. Please check your emails to make sure that you have the location and the time, okay? So please be sure that you check your emails. Okay? Check your emails. Um so that you know where you're going, okay? And you know how to get there, and we are able to celebrate together. Y'all, this episode was very challenging for me. And I don't know why it was challenging. I guess I'll probably talk it out at some point during the review of it, but I'm going to be all over the place. I'm not going to go in any particular order. I'm just going to, kind of talk about people as it comes to my mind. As you all know, I don't write a script down most of the time. I kind of freestyle it. So hold on, let me close my office door for 1 second. Just 1 second, Jack. Okay, so I'm back. Got a lot going on in the house, a lot of moving around that's happening in the house, and I didn't even think. Close your office door before you go live. So anyway, just want to take the time to say hello to D McFarlane. Hello, Yolanda. Hey, Lisa Lynn. Hey, Sherry W. Hello there, Kim. Hey, Crystal Hogan. Hello there, Janella, Nathan, Temp, and Ray Della. Y'all, did that rhyme or not? Okay, that rhymed. So anyway, when I was looking at this particular episode, like I said, it was a lot going on. Um, and I was so just it's just like, so they have 4 weeks to be here. If I'm not mistaken, they've been on this island in Tulum for 4 weeks. The first week that we saw these episodes, it was basically, everybody finding out, who was on the island and how they fit in. We had the cast and the non-cast. One of the things that I thought was disappointing is that we did not see the non-cast. Most of this show was based on 90 Day Fiance rejects and people who were unsuccessful in their relationships in real life. Okay, we're gonna tell the truth out here in these streets. If we don't do nothing else, we telling the truth. So these were people who were rejected and had problems in their previous relationships. There were a couple of non-cast members who were able to break through, and for the most part, that was the men. Because there weren't a lot of 90-day fiance men to go around for them to date. And so now here we are on the final week, and everybody is in rush mode to try to leave the island with someone or pretend as if they're going to be leaving the island with someone. One of the most disappointing things for me was Tim. As we all know, Tim has been on a 90-day fiance for damn near a decade and has not had love at all, right? He has had what he thought to be love and it did not work out. And one of those people were Jen. And so, of course, they brought Jen back because Jen, too, has been, around 90-day fiance for a while. And she has had rejected relationships with men. One of the very first 90-day fiance cast members, I believe he might have been the first, was Jesse Meester. Jesse Meester goes all the way back, right, to I think what, season 1, 2, or 3, one of them. But he was one of the very first cast members that I ever interviewed. And it was interesting. I was a rookie at it, didn't know what I was doing. But I always had, my wits about me. And we had a very great controversial interview because at the time he was dating Darcy. Stacy was nowhere around at this time. It was Darcy. And so they had a very tumultuous relationship. We see her now, still hanging on, and she is, married to another gentleman and still having relationship issues and issues with her self-esteem and all of that kind of self-worth, all that. So, looking at, Tim coming, trying to, so at first Tim was trying to hit on Elise. He realized in the beginning that Elise was absolutely out of his league. But, he had one of the counselors to kind of talk to him and try to give him a pep talk. And, for him to, kind of get himself together and dare at it. Of course, he did not dare at it because he knew that Elise was out of his league. And so now we see Tim going to May. And I'm thinking, why is May always the default young lady? May seems like she's out of the pocket when we had an opportunity to get when she had an opportunity to get airtime. She was talking about, having relationships with 7 men at a time. And so Tim, is trying his hand out with May, and I'm thinking to myself, for what? So as I believe, right, and I've already said, I think it's just a mad dash to say that you're walking away with someone. And I just thought that, like, Tim, give it up. It didn't work. And it's the same thing with Shantel. Shantel is now trying to spin her wheels with Rocky. And for some reason, she thinks that Rocky is attractive. A lot of the women think that Rocky is attractive. Maybe you would have to be there to, maybe you would have to be there to have the same sentiments. But I don't see anything attractive about Rocky. He's going from woman to woman and relationship to relationship. Downtown, he's not serious about anything, and neither is Shantel. Shantel has been struggling, according to her, she's been struggling the whole entire season with whether or not she is bisexual, or not just necessarily bisexual, but that she has feelings for one of her friends. Now, for all of us who kind of keep up with what's going on, we know that Chantel is in a full-fledged relationship with this young lady. We've seen her in the car with her. We've seen her, different places. And so we understand and we know that there absolutely is something that Chantel has pursued. She's pursued this relationship with this young lady. But she tries her hand at Rocky because we had saw, I think it was maybe episode 6. I think it was 5 or 6, where Chantel actually went out with Jay. And she said that after her date with Jay, Jay, started pursuing other women. And Jay is saying, you know what, I want to, sow my oats while I'm out here. And I don't have time to commit myself to a 90-day fiance marriage reject. And so, she's pursuing Rocky. She goes out on a date with Rocky and she's reading, off of her phone because Chantel, at the end of the day, in my opinion, doesn't have a personality she just doesn't have that kind of personality. She's good when there's controversial issues going on and so forth. But outside of that, Chantel ain't got nothing going on. And so, thus the name of this episode, The Girl Who Treats It Like an Interview. Chantel basically, doesn't have anything going on and isn't really trying to pursue a relationship, right? But in the meantime and in between time, Tiffany is upset with the fact that Rocky has moved on to Chantel, that the two of them are being seen together, trying to hit it off. This is hunt for love. And I think that, with love, if you're hunting for it, you're going to continue to be hunting for it. It probably wasn't the right show for anybody to really try to get together and make a meaningful relationship. For me, I think that this show has shown us that this is just, let's just get together, have sex, and then, continue to move on with the rest of our damn lives. Hey Nikki Wow, I just saw that. Nikki Wow said, is it me or the non 90-day cast members only get airtime if they decide to hook up with the 90-day cast? Absolutely. I think that you're exactly right. Okay. 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 I think that, for me, and I keep saying that I'm going to do a video of it, but for me, I feel like the 90-day franchise is dead. I don't think that there's anything exciting, nothing new. Everything that we have been getting from the 90-day fiance in any of the spinoffs is old, vomited up news. There's nothing new. No, and I think that we're getting ready to have 90 Day Fiance the other way. I'm going to do the cast, talk about the cast and introduce them, and we'll be looking at that. But this franchise, to me, in so many ways, is dead. And I think that it's dead because there's too many artificial hands in it. Y'all let me know downtown in the comment section. I watch it because of y'all, and I've said that repeatedly, and I will continue to say that. But if it was not for y'all and y'all wanting to, get the information, some of you all have stopped watching it, period. And the only time that you really get information about what's going on is when you look at a YouTuber who's continuously covering the show. I can tell you from doing 90 Day Fiance, the whole entire franchise, every spinoff, I've been there. And it's just not good. I was so excited about 90 Day Hunt for Love, thinking this was going to be something different. But again, just like the comment that I just highlighted, if these people did not hook up with the 90 Day Fiance cast members, they didn't get airtime. We didn't know about them. They were almost like walk-ons onto a set. And I think it's disappointing because this was an opportunity for them to create some real connections, to create a show with some real true connections or some real true drama, not some drummed up drama with Colt and Courtney and Usman. Usman tells Courtney that, he's getting his stitches out and she doesn't know whether or not she wants Usman or she wants to be with Colt. I think that all signs are pointing that she's going to be with Colt. And I don't know why, because Colt was still married. The one thing about it is I have not bothered Vanessa with this. And the reason why I didn't bother Vanessa with it or reach out to her, have a conversation with her, is because she's trying to move on with her life. She don't have time to be worrying about what Colt is doing on Hunt for Love. Yeah, she. So I didn't reach out to her, but there is some rumor going on out there on the net that Colty and Courtney got married. No, she moved him into her house, but you can see that the pictures are cropped, and in order to drum up some drama, some new fresh drama, some people feel like they gotta fabricate and lie about a story. Just like the story, the false story about Tim and Tiffany being together. Tiffany has she has an old woman's soul. And we're going to get into that later on. But, Shantel again is trying to make something happen with Rocky. There's nothing happening with Rocky. She's not attracted to Rocky at all. And then we have Jen and Rob, who are trying to rekindle their relationship. I thought that Rob would be able to read the room and understand that there is no future with a woman like Jen, and that Jen lives in the moment. They had an opportunity while playing a game for her to pick Rob, and again, she did not. She went to someone else. So he continuously gets, rejected by her. But then, she has this way about her that she can walk back and tell Rob wants what he wants to hear. Rob is saying that he is going to go out and visit her. She has no intention of being with Rob. She is a right now girl, a right now in the moment chick, and it's just as simple as that. Because she was willing to, as much as she knew that Cole liked her and basically was lying, right? He got caught in a lie about Tiffany. you know, he really liked this girl, and she has treated him like she does every other relationship in her life, as someone who is disposable. She will use these men to get what she wants to get, and then they're disposable. I guess turnaround is fair play, right? Because men have been doing that, for centuries. So, rah rah, I guess. For some people, maybe that's their opinion about it. But for me, I'm just like, okay, she'll get hers. Here's what I really want to talk about. I don't even really want to talk about all of the other stuff. Let's have a real, true conversation about what we saw regarding Tiffany. Now, I have been saying from probably episode 1 or 2 that Tiffany is old. No, one, that Tiffany is the oldest person on the island, in my opinion, and she has been stirring the pot. She has been perceived as the mother of the group, the one who is all wise and has a lot of wisdom. She has put herself in other people's relationships from me since day A, from the beginning. This is the energy that Tiffany has come off with. Tiffany, of course, was liking Carlo. And Carlo was liking her until Carlo found out that she had a baby. And it was said, I think it was from Elise on an episode, one of the spinoffs, that Carlo wanted to be out of the relationship with Tiffany, but he was afraid to do so. So with them only having a week left, Carlo is coming out of his box. In episode 9, I think it was, or was it 10? Jay and Carlo got into an argument over Tiffany because Jay had asked Tiffany out on a date, and Tiffany said yes. She has been up in the air with Carlo because Carlo told her that while he would try to continue to date her, he did not want to inherit a ready made family. He did not want to be in a relationship with someone who already had children. And so he was supposed to have been backing off of her. Now, we know that editing is a mother, okay? And that maybe Carlo did back off. It made it appear that Carlo was still pursuing, but I don't know. So let's just hold the thought right there. So Tiffany moved on to Rocky, and then she accepted a date with Jay. She accepted a date with Jay. I don't know why she did that, because I don't believe that Tiffany likes chocolate. Some of the words that Tiffany was using when talking in general about it, I felt like this is just an experiment, a science project. That those are my views, right? That's how I saw it with Tiffany, with Jay. So let's just get into it. Shall we? Oh, yes, we shall. So she goes out on this date with Jay. She's uncomfortable with Jay from the beginning. Her interaction with him, it just won't there. But Jay did herself no favors. Trust me. So we're looking at her walking across. She takes today. She doesn't know whether or not her mind is still on Carlo, who has already told her he doesn't want a ready made family. But okay. Did I already say that? Okay, I'm going to say it again. Carlo has already told her that he does not want a ready made family. And in the last couple of episodes, we have not even seen her engage with Carlo. She's been getting found out. Everybody's been finding out that, according to Cole, she was the one that started the rumor. But of course, he backed off of it. He backed off and he backpedaled. Okay, so here we go. So she goes and she sits down with Jay. She's breathing hard. She is very awkward. She's not feminine. She's very guarded with Jay off the top. She says, I'm going to try this. Jay got into an altercation with Carlo about Tiffany. Carlo indicated that he ain't said nothing to him and then he gonna go out with his girl. So we see the two of them sit down. She's holding her drink awkwardly. She's extremely uncomfortable. But she's going along with this date. Did she get pushed on this date, y'all? Did they suggest that she go on this date with him? Was this a setup? These are questions that I'm asking myself as I watch her posture. So she sits down with him, and he is aggressive, in my opinion. This month was so aggressive in his questions, which I thought were inappropriate. He's not even attractive. Something's wrong with that peanut head of his. Like he's not an attractive guy. He got a body, but honey, that's it. Because he's got a body, but a turtle got a shell. Okay. So just because you got a shell, don't mean you ain't no turtle coming off that mother. Okay. Cause that little pea head of his and that big old body made me think he looked just like an old turtle. Anyway, he starts talking to her about, he told us that he was a king. He was the cat's meow. He was the pick of the litter. Like everybody wants to be with him. And I'm thinking, what? Bitch, you just got recognized because you stepped over the line to talk to her. Prior to this, we didn't know who you were. Neither did we care. So she's talking to him and he asks her, right? She's talking to him. He's asking her, what does she want? She says she wants somebody that, she can have a loving relationship with. And then, she made sure that she said, I want to make sure it starts as a friendship first. As in, there were some things I think that were cut out. This is just my opinion. It may not be factual, it may not be actual, but it's my opinion. She says she makes a point to say I wanted to start off as a friendship first. She never made those comments with Carlo. Neither did I hear her make it with Rocky, but Rocky was just he just wasn't interested anymore. So then, he says, so how do I rank? At the bottom, bitch. You rank at the bottom. But it's okay. Once you show your true self and we get to know each other more, maybe you'll rank higher. But for right now, you're at the bottom. He tells her he wants to play a game. And the game that he wants to play, he doesn't know what the rules are, what the name of the game is. He just wants to kiss her. So Tiffany, of course, almost chokes on her glass of wine because the last thing that she wants to do is kiss him. It already appeared that she was pretty turned off by him. And again, that makes me think that maybe there was something that was going on that we did not see on camera. I'm just saying. So she finally says, I'll kiss him. When she kisses him, he goes completely overboard. He is, it's not just a kiss. He knows she's uncomfortable. Regardless of whether or not a man admits it or not, they know our body language when we're not attractive and when we are a little grossed out and we think things have gotten too far. Men know, bitch. They know. They may pretend that they don't, but they do. And the next thing you know, he has his body over her and on top of her, pushing her in a backwards, vulnerable position. I said, bitch, cut. In my opinion, he violated her. This isn't what she wanted. And if he had any sense, he would have gotten that clue because I think that I did. She was like, how did I end up getting into this? How did I find myself in this position with this man? And I was thinking the same thing, bitch. How did she now find herself in this kind of position with him? I was disgusted. Had it been me, we would have had a talk reduction. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He would not have lived to see another day to have some kind of interaction with a woman on the island that way. I thought it was extremely, I thought, these are my opinions, I thought it was extremely aggressive. I would have absolutely felt violated. It was hard for me to even look at it because I'm thinking, you a brother. You are a brother out here doing this with this, excuse me, I don't mean to offend anybody, fragile white woman. But even if it was a black woman, she would have been fragile. So I don't want anybody to get it twisted. Any woman would have been fragile in that position. I think that so so I want to be very clear and I want to be very transparent. For those of you all who have been with me a while, you all know that I date outside my race because I feel like love is love, and I am not looking at a person from what's outside. If I get the opportunity to know you, it doesn't make a difference to me what your ethnicity is or what your race is. If I'm attracted to you, or I'm attracted to you by something that's in the inside that I have learned, studied, or got to know, and I want to explore that relationship. But I do know that in dating men from different ethnicities and races, that there are some do nots, and there is some, there is some education that needs to come into play. You have to know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, what people are used to, what they're accustomed to, what their traditions are, their religion. There are different things that you need to know about people when you decide to date outside your race. And I don't care what nobody says, it is a learning curve. It's a learning curve because I got to know, and you need to know what's appropriate and what I grew up knowing. But just common sense is that if a woman is already apprehensive about kissing you, it don't make a difference what your race is. You know, pulling up on a woman, pushing up on a woman like that, and having her in that, that's wrong on every level. Every fucking level. It don't make a difference if it was Shantel. It doesn't make a difference if it was May. It doesn't make a difference if it was Courtney. It doesn't even make a difference if it was Jen. You don't rise up on a woman like that. The fuck is wrong with you? Oh my god. He would have had some issues, and so would the network. You're right about that, baby. DM 2023 said, to be honest, Auntie, this show is out of control. There are so many inappropriate moments in language for TV. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. And I think I've been saying that for a minute, but thank you, boo. It's just certain things that you should not be doing. He doesn't have the same, people don't look at him the same way that they look at Carlo. The what? And it was so obvious he was trying to prove a point, and he was using this woman to prove the point that he was better than Carlo. This isn't a competition with Carlo. This is a dating show, hunting for love, not hunting for competition. I was so fucking embarrassed. Miss Chain said, but Carlo was off a bit too. Carlo wasn't aggressive with her. I don't know if you're talking about that, Miss Chains. I would love to know, what you're talking about him being appropriate. I think all of them are inappropriate, but nobody's been aggressive like this. That was aggression at a different level, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But thank you, Miss Chains. Let me know what you mean by that. Nobody's done that. The only person that I think that was that kind of um no, no, I don't think anything compares to what he did. Oh, okay. You talking about in a different sense. I'm talking about a man, and I'm talking about the relationship. I understand what you're saying. I'm talking about the relationship between a man and a woman, and how men need to deal with women. I'm also talking about interracial relationships. Right? There has to be an understanding about people's cultures and traditions and what they do. I dated a guy from Canada, right? And of course he was a white guy, okay, blonde hair, blue eyes, and he was out of Canada. He was a soccer player, and I dated him early on, and there were some things that I needed to know about him, and some things he needed to know about me before we could pursue the relationship. Right? It takes it takes time understanding people, right? You got to understand people, because the way that I grew up, he damn sure didn't he damn sure didn't grow up that way in Canada. Right. So it was just a difference. Number one, we just talking about, I'm from America, right? He from Canada. So that's a difference altogether. Right. And so there was a lot that he and I needed to learn about each other's cultures, and how we felt about different things, our experiences, like all of that had to come to the table. And it's been with different men from different races and ethnicities that I've dated, that a mature person understands. They haven't grown up like me in the hood. There's going to be certain things that I'm not going to be able to understand, and certain things that they're not going to be able to understand about me, right? And we got to get to know each other. But him just pushing his way up on this woman like that, from what I saw, was totally inappropriate. And Carlo hasn't pushed his way up on her, and neither did Rocky. You're absolutely right, because I was getting ready to go to that, Tanya, about how Usman handled Courtney. Like, she had to back that motherfucker up. Excuse my language. She had to back him up and stand her ground and say, look, right? Because he thinks, that because he's black and he's African and he's more successful, that he's better than Cole. But guess what? Cole used Usman's overconfidence, his arrogance, his narcissism against him, and got the girl. They need to wake up. He's moving in competition with Carlo. This wasn't about her at all. Anyway, we see that Elise and Carlo hook up because he's moved on from Tiffany. Tiffany has a very old spirit, if that makes sense. Her spirit's old. She's an old lady. She's a lady that everyone reverences and everyone takes her advice. But Carlo was tired of the bullshit right between him and Jay. He didn't want to compete with him. And if you notice, even when Cole says things, Cole is grossed out to do anything with Jen behind Rob. And we ain't gonna get into the mechanics of it. Maybe we can in the membership. We can talk more honestly about it. But he feels gross to have to go behind Rob. This is some Shannon Sharp. It is, y'all. It is. It really, really is. These are conversations people feel uncomfortable to have. These are conversations that people don't want to have because it can be easily misinterpreted. Okay. And now he's with Elise, sleeping with Elise. And Tiffany is none the wiser. The two of them came into a compromise with each other. You ain't getting none, I ain't getting none. Let's get some. Let's make a deal. Let's have sex until we get off the island. Ain't neither one of us connected with nobody else. Let's just go ahead on and get it in. That's what that was. And you know what? They grown and they can do that. So I don't have no criticism about it whatsoever. She's in her room entertaining a couple of people. He knocks on the door and he wants to tell her that he's with Elise, but she can't read the room. She makes him come out in the back. This man got some serious he need to talk to her about. Absolutely, Tanya. Tanya said he would rather sleep with Elise than to be a stepdad. I ain't mad at him. The thing about it, what I think that people have to realize on this show and in dating, period, that you don't own anybody. And because you like them does not mean that you own them. That they get to date and they get to, make a choice and a decision with their selves, with their mind, body, heart, soul, and everything else. This is hunt for love. They already know that there's no love to be had. But if I can go head on and knock a couple of boots while I'm here, all right. Elise had already determined that back in a couple of episodes, I guess maybe people missed it, when she said that Carlo had told her that he was afraid of Tiffany. He wanted out of the relationship with Tiffany, but he was afraid to leave. So it was already obvious that the two of them had developed a relationship where they was talking. It was just a matter of time before they went to the next level. They came to a compromise. You're gonna be my maintenance man while I'm here, and you're gonna be my maintenance girl while I'm here. That's grown. Whether I like her or not, I don't like her as a person, right? Because I think she flippy floppy and I think she messy. I think that her intention was to be with Rob and she just overplayed her hand with Rob. And then, Rob was in a competition with Cole for Jen, right? And so, the whole thing just went, caboose for her. Absolutely. Thank you, Miss T. Miss T, let me tell you, sometimes I'll be struggling to say the stuff that I want to say. Right. I'll be struggling, Miss T, because I'm just like looking at it from a different perspective and just putting it out there. But sometimes, honey, people get so offended when you put it out there. Okay. Yes, they do. Well, thank you, Miss T. Anyway, that is the end of this review, y'all. This is how I felt about it. I don't remember anything else that particularly stood out to me. Um, hey there, hi boo. How are you? Um, but y'all let me know. Let's continue to have this conversation downtown in the comment section. And um if you have had an experience in an interracial relationship before, let me know down in the comments section how you navigated through it. Was it something that, you and your partner, was it your first time ever doing it, dating outside of your race? How has that been for you? Because that's something that, honey, I can really talk about, right? I don't talk about it that much. I don't hit it now and then, but I have a lot of experience in doing that, right? Because I'm one of those type of people that believe that love is love. And but I also understand that love is love, and but it still comes with some education. There's still something that you have to do on your end to make sure, right, that number one, you're being heard in the relationship, and that it's a relationship that's worth you pursuing. And it is totally different. It has been different for me as a black woman, okay, because y'all know I'm black. Okay, dating men from other races and other ethnicities. There is you know what I'm saying? Because, we grow up with, different preconceived notions that aren't true about us. And that's not true about them. There are things that, you're taught, things that you hear in conversations that stick with you. And you get these preconceived notions that that each person falls into whatever that is, and they don't, right? You just have to make sure that you do the work, right? Because it is different. It is different. So, and I even, at this age, I even realized that dating even someone from a different state is different from dating someone who has grown up in the atmosphere that you've been in, right? I was dating a guy, he had never heard of go-go. Like, what? Right? So, go-go is inherently Washington, D.C., right? We grew up off of it as teenagers, and we've grown up with it. But other people be like, what the is that? What's all them drums and all of that bebop and boop, 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 boop. Like, who's Chuck Brown? So I mean, just dating people from other states and stuff. You have to date with some type of education, and you have to be open to explore and to learn. Anyway, like I said, let's continue to have the conversation down in the okay. Okay, absolutely. Now, and don't forget, if you have registered and you have already signed up for my meet and greet this weekend, make sure you check your email, because I sent everybody an email yesterday. Okay. I love y'all. And until we meet again, y'all be safe out there in the streets and in the water. Bye, y'all.